Okay, so you're ready to dive into the world of breastfeeding.
Which means,
You're also ready to dive into the world of breast pumps.
yeah, that's right. And let me tell you,
Because let's be real,
it can feel like a whole lot to take in.
it can feel like you need like
Why?
a whole degree just to figure out how to pick one out.
It's true, the options can be super overwhelming. Like, where do you even start? But I think instead of getting lost in all the brands and the tech and all that,
Right.
let's just take it back to basics for a second and really think about what matters most for you and your pumping journey.
I love that. So before we even look at like a single pump,
Okay.
what are some of those like fundamental things that we need to be thinking about?
Yeah, so it really all comes down to your own personal needs and what your goals are for breastfeeding. So, for example,
Okay.
are you thinking about exclusively pumping?
Yep.
You're supplementing.
Okay.
Knowing like what your why is will really help guide you towards the best pump.
Right, because a mom who's just pumping like occasionally is not going to need the
Why?
same level of pump as like a mom of twins who's exclusively pumping.
Exactly.
Speaking of which,
Yeah.
what is the deal with this whole hospital grade pump thing?
Okay.
Is that something that like most people actually need?
That's a really common misconception. A lot of people think that hospital grade means it's like the best of the best. It's like top of the line.
Right.
But really what it refers to is more the durability.
Okay.
It's meant to be used by multiple people continuously, so it's made to last.
Right.
But that doesn't mean that it's like the most effective for everyone at home.
Okay.
Really what matters most is finding what your maximum comfortable vacuum is.
Ooh, I like that.
And so you can think of it kind of like,
Okay.
you know how if you wear a pair of shoes that are too small, your feet hurt? It's kind of the same thing with the breast pump. It needs to fit your body.
That's such a good analogy.
Yeah.
So how do you even figure out what your like maximum comfortable vacuum is? Is that something you just like feel out?
You just feel it out.
Okay.
It's about just experimenting.
Okay.
Finding that sweet spot where you're getting a good amount of milk flow
Okay.
without it being painful at all.
Gotcha.
A lactation consultant is a great resource if you want someone to like help you fine-tune that.
Totally.
But now I'm curious, are you ready to dive into some different pump types?
Yes. Let's do it. So I know we've got manual pumps, we've got electric pumps, and then like
Yeah,
things start to get like futuristic.
things get real fancy. We're talking wearables.
Yes. Okay, so let's break this down because there's a lot to unpack here.
There is.
So I guess like let's start with like the most basic.
Okay.
Like where would you even begin?
Let's start with the trusty manual pump. This is like your,
Yeah.
no frills. This is like your reliable
Okay.
option. Think of it as like the bicycle of the pumping world.
I love that. Okay, the bicycle. So when would a manual pump be a good choice for someone?
So a manual pump is going to be great for you if you're pumping occasionally,
Okay.
or you need something that's like really portable
Right.
and discreet. So like imagine you're out and about, you need a little bit of relief,
Right.
but you don't want to like lug around a huge machine.
Right.
A manual pump is going to be perfect for that.
Totally.
And generally they are the most budget-friendly option as well.
Okay, so that makes sense. So if I'm hearing you right, they're probably not ideal for like frequent pumping sessions
Yeah.
or building up a huge
Exactly.
freezer stats.
Exactly. That's where the electric pump comes in.
Okay.
This is like the car of the pumping world.
Okay.
It's got more power.
Right.
It's more efficient.
Makes sense.
More features for if you're pumping on a regular basis.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. Now I know electric pumps are like a whole other
Yeah,
beast.
they are.
So what are some things that we should be thinking about, like if we're going to go
Yeah.
down that path?
When you're looking at electric pumps,
Yeah.
you're going to want to consider things like the suction strength.
Okay.
How many times it's actually cycling per minute.
Right.
And whether you need single or double pumping capabilities.
And then on top of that, there's like the whole world of like added features and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Where it's like this pump can practically make you a latte
Right.
while you're pumping.
Seriously, it's like pumps these days can do it all.
Yeah.
You've got timers, you've got memory functions.
Oh.
You can even track your pumping sessions on an app.
Okay, so it's about figuring out
Yeah,
which of those features are most important to you.
totally.
Okay, so we've got manual, we've got electric.
Yes.
What about these like high-powered pumps?
Okay.
What makes them different? Is it just that they have like
Yeah.
stronger suction?
So they do tend to have stronger suction.
Yeah.
But it's a little bit more than that.
Okay.
They're really designed for like really frequent
Okay.
and intensive pumping.
Right.
So these are the pumps with like the really souped up motors.
Okay.
and they can create suction in different ways.
Interesting.
Some of them have piston mechanisms instead of diaphragms,
Mm,
which some people find to be a gentler,
interesting.
but still really effective type of suction.
Okay, so it's not just about like the amount of suction, it's also about
It's about the type.
the type.
Yeah.
Gotcha. So who are those pumps like typically best suited for?
So you'll see these recommended a lot for exclusive pumpers.
Okay.
Moms who are having some difficulty with their milk supply.
All right.
Or moms of multiples.
Gotcha. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay, so then the pumps that I feel like
Yeah,
just blow my mind
I know.
are the wearable pumps.
They're
The
amazing.
fact that you can like pump in your bra,
It's like straight out of the Jetsons.
it really is. Okay, so like tell me about wearable pumps. What is the deal with them?
So wearable pumps are all about discretion
Okay.
and be able to like move around freely. So imagine this. You're at work.
Okay.
You need to pump.
Yep.
But you don't want to be stuck to the wall.
Tethered to the wall.
Exactly. Wearable pumps to the rescue.
Mm-hmm.
You can pump while you're working,
Oh my goodness.
while you're running errands, while you're chasing your toddler around.
Game changer.
Right.
But is it as
That's it.
effective?
That's a good question.
Yeah.
You know, the technology has come a long way,
Yeah.
and it really does vary from pump to pump and person to person.
Right.
So it's really about doing your research and figuring out what's going to work best for you.
Totally. Okay, so if those are kind of like the main categories
Yes.
of pumps.
You've got manual, electric, high-powered,
Wearable.
and wearable.
Okay, so now let's like break these down a little bit further
Let's do it.
because we've got a lot to unpack here.
We do.
I feel like where do we even begin?
Let's start with the trusty manual pump.
Okay.
And it's kind of like I was saying with the bicycles earlier. You've got your very basic models, and then you have your models that have a few more bells and whistles.
I like it. Okay, let's hear about these bells and whistles.
So you've got brands like Medela Harmony, Lancino, Philips Avent.
Oh, okay.
They all offer really reliable manual pumps.
Okay.
And these are great.
Yeah.
If you just need something for occasional use, you're not going to be using it super often, and you don't necessarily need all the fancy features.
Right.
And they're great for your budget too.
Right. Right. What about these silicone pumps? Because I've heard of those and those seem like a whole other thing.
Yeah, they're different. Silicone pumps, like the Haka motif makes one. Medela actually makes a silicone pump now too.
Oh, wow.
They work a little bit differently.
Yeah.
They use like gentle suction, and they're often used to catch your letdown
Oh, okay.
while your baby is nursing on the other side.
Yeah.
So they're not really meant for like a full pumping session,
Gotcha.
but they're just kind of there to like collect those precious drops that might otherwise go to waste.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah, it's like a little backup catcher.
It's got a little backup catcher. I love it.
Right.
Okay, so we've got our manual pumps figured out.
Yes.
So now let's talk about electric pumps, because that's like
Right.
a whole other...
Yeah,
that's why I'm-
it's like picking a new cell phone.
yeah, it really is.
So many brands, so many features, so many price points.
So many.
But let's just break it down into a couple categories. We'll talk about your like everyday pumps.
Right?
These are the ones that are perfect if you're pumping regularly at home or maybe at work.
Okay.
And then there's like we were talking about those higher tech options, the ones that have all the bells and whistles.
Right. Like the ones that connect to your phone and all that.
Right, exactly. So you can adjust them and like really customize your experience.
Okay.
So let's talk about those everyday heroes first.
Okay, let's do it.
So for kind of like your basic workhorse pump, Medela is like
Okay.
the big name in the game.
They have their pump-in style with max flow,
Okay.
and it's super popular for a reason.
Okay.
It's known for being reliable,
Okay.
efficient. It's relatively lightweight.
All good things.
All good things.
Now, for people who are
You-
maybe on a budget, are there other good options that
Yeah.
won't break the bank?
For sure. So Lancino makes a great pump
Okay.
called the Signature Pro.
Okay.
It's a double electric pump. It comes with all different flange sizes,
Oh, nice.
which is great.
Yes.
And this one's nice too
Yeah.
because it is significantly quieter
Huh.
than some of the other models, which if you're pumping...
Like in the middle of the night.
in the middle of the night.
Yeah, or like when your baby's sleeping.
Yeah, or if you're like on a work call or something.
Exactly.
You don't want it to be like
You don't want it to sound like a jackhammer.
a construction site. Yeah.
Right, exactly.
Okay.
So that's a really good one to look into.
Okay, now I am very curious about the more like high-tech,
Ones that have all the like bells and whistles.
well, let's get fancy.
Okay.
So these are great if you're someone who likes to like really analyze your output,
Okay.
track every ounce.
Right.
The Spectra S1 is a really popular option. It's known for being
Yeah.
very powerful.
Okay.
Like it's got some serious suction,
Gotcha.
and it has all these customizable settings.
Oh, cool.
So you can really fine tune it.
So you can like make it your own little.
You can make it your own. And what's cool
Yeah.
is that As you move through your pumping journey, your needs might change.
Right.
And so you can adjust the settings on this
Totally.
as you go.
Gotcha. What about, are there any that are like wearable
Yeah.
that also have those features? Because I feel like those two things
Yes, there are.
would be like,
You want the best of both worlds.
yes.
So the LV Stride
Okay.
is a really great option
Okay.
because it's super powerful.
Okay.
It's designed to be worn in your bra, but it's not sacrificing any of that suction strength.
Okay. That's important.
It's important. You don't want to compromise on that.
Okay. So we've got our manual pumps, our everyday electric pumps. We've got our like really fancy electric pumps.
Yes.
Before we move on to the heavy hitters, let's talk about like maximizing milk output in general.
Okay. Yeah. Good idea.
Because we haven't really touched on that, and I feel like that's like,
That's like the number one goal.
yeah. So like, are there things that you can do? Like, is it the pump?
Right.
Or are there other things that you should be doing?
Yeah, that's such a good point
Yeah.
because the pump is really just like one piece of the puzzle, right?
Right.
So in addition to having a good pump,
Okay.
there are definitely things you can do to kind of like optimize your pumping sessions. Have you ever heard of hands-on pumping?
Hands-on pumping. Tell me more.
It's really cool. So basically, it's exactly what it sounds like. While you're pumping,
Okay.
you're using your hands
Okay.
to gently massage and compress your breasts
Oh.
to really help encourage that milk flow.
Oh, interesting.
And it helps with drainage, too.
Okay, so it's like your breasts are getting a little assistance.
A little assistance
So their hands.
while the pump is doing its
Oh,
thing.
exactly. I love it.
And studies have shown it's really effective.
Oh, wow.
It can really up your output.
Cool. Anything else?
Let's see. Oh, power pumping. Have you heard of this one?
Power pumping. That sounds intense.
This is a little more involved than just like a regular pumping session.
Okay.
But it can be a really great tool if you feel like your supply's dipping or you really want to like boost your production.
So how does power pumping work? Do you just like
Yeah, what is it?
crank the suction to the max or?
Not exactly. So basically, you're mimicking how a baby cluster feeds.
Okay.
And it signals to your body
Okay.
to make more milk.
Right. Right.
So there's a very specific pattern of like pumping and then resting
Okay.
that you follow. And it usually lasts for about an hour.
So it's not necessarily about the suction. It's about like
It's about the frequency.
the frequency and like how long you're doing it for.
Exactly. Exactly.
Wow, that's really interesting. I actually didn't know that.
It's cool, right?
Yeah.
And it's funny you should mention milk production because
Okay.
it kind of makes me want to talk about
Yeah.
the science behind it all.
Right. Because once you understand like
Rick,
the science, then it's like you can kind of work with your body.
you can work smarter, not harder.
Yeah,
you know?
exactly.
Okay. So,
Okay, hit me with the science.
so it all comes down to hormones, right?
Okay.
We're talking prolactin and oxytocin.
Okay.
Prolactin is like the star of the show. That's the one that's responsible for milk production.
Gotcha. Okay.
And then we have oxytocin,
Yeah.
which is like the trigger
Okay.
for the letdown reflex.
Mhm.
So it's that tingling sensation you might feel
Right.
when your milk starts to flow.
Gotcha.
That's oxytocin doing its thing.
So prolactin is like the milk maker, and then oxytocin is like the doorman being like,
Yes. I love that.
all right, let's go open the floodgates.
You got it.
I love it.
And what's so cool is that these hormones are influenced by all these different factors.
Okay.
We're talking skin-to-skin contact with your baby
Okay.
cues.
So like when they're rooting.
Exactly. Exactly. Even your own emotional state.
So if you're like super stressed,
Yes.
that can actually like hinder
Totally.
the milk making process.
Yes. So when you're stressed, your body releases a hormone called cortisol.
Right.
And basically it's like cortisol and oxytocin can't be friends.
Okay.
They do not get along.
So they like block each other.
They block each other. So
Wow.
yeah. So when you're stressed, your body's not making as much oxytocin,
Wow.
which means that letdown reflex.
That makes so much sense because I feel like
Yeah.
it's especially in those early days,
Yes.
like you're just like a ball of stress. So
It's like a catch-22. You're trying to breastfeed, but you're also completely sleep deprived.
exactly.
When you're trying to like figure out this whole new human.
It's a lot. It's a lot.
Okay, so that's
Yeah,
super
so-
fascinating that like
Yeah.
stress can actually
Totally
impact
unpack that.
absolutely.
Wow.
So yeah, taking care of your mental and emotional well-being
Right.
is not just important for you, it's important for your milk supply.
It's huge.
It's huge.
Okay.
So should we move on to those powerhouse pumps now?
Yes. Let's talk about the heavy hitters.
Okay, all right. So these are for the moms out there who really need like that extra oomph
Yeah.
in their pumping sessions.
Okay, so what sets these apart? Is it literally just that they have like way
Yeah.
stronger suction?
So they definitely have stronger suction, but it's more than that.
Okay.
So these pumps are designed for like really frequent use.
Okay.
They have these like super robust motors
Okay.
that can handle like longer pumping sessions
Oh, okay.
without overheating or anything like that.
Gotcha. So it's not going to like,
Right. It's not going to
yeah.
like burn out on you.
right, burn out on you.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
They also tend to have those features we were talking about, like adjustable settings, so you can really fine tune the suction,
Okay.
the speed, find what's comfortable for you. And a lot of them have like backflow protectors too, so you don't get any milk backing up into the tubing.
That's good.
Yeah. Definitely a nice feature to have.
So beyond the fact that the motors are like
Yeah.
really strong
Yeah.
and the fact that there are all these adjustable settings,
Yeah.
are there any other like key features
Let me think.
that set these pumps apart?
Well, a lot of them, like the Spectra S2, which is another popular option, they offer both single and double pumping capabilities.
Oh, that's nice.
So you have that flexibility depending on your time, your preference, things like that.
Okay, so if it's like 2 o'clock in the morning,
Right, exactly. You've got to make those choices sometimes.
you're just trying to get
You got to do what you got to do.
a little bit
Absolutely.
out.
Yeah.
Okay, that
Right.
makes sense.
Let's see what else. Oh, a lot of moms are concerned about the noise level
Oh, yeah.
because some of these high-powered pumps can get a little loud,
Right, right.
which is understandable.
Right.
You know, you don't want to wake the baby.
Yeah, exactly.
But there are some brands that are known for being
Okay.
a little quieter than others. The Motif Luna is a good one.
Okay.
It's known for being relatively quiet
Okay.
for how powerful it is.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah. And they've actually added some nice features to this one, too.
Okay, like what?
It's got a little nightlight, which is kind of nice.
Oh, that's handy.
And the digital display is really easy to see.
Oh, nice.
So those middle of the night pumping sessions,
Right.
a little bit easier.
When it's dark and you can't see anything.
Exactly.
Exactly. Okay, so high-powered pumps, we're thinking.
Okay, so let's recap.
Durable motor.
Durable motor,
Yeah.
adjustable settings,
Adjustable settings. Okay.
backflow protection,
Backflow protection.
all those good things.
Okay, and now
Are you ready?
let's talk about the ones that are just like mind-blowing.
The wearables.
Yes.
I know, right?
Okay, so
There's like straight out of a sci-fi movie.
there really are. The fact that you can be like pumping and like going about your day
Yeah, you're like a milk machine on the go.
and nobody knows.
I know.
It's amazing.
Okay, so wearable pumps like the Willow Go or the LV
That's not really.
these are all about discretion
Right?
and freedom of movement,
Yeah.
and they're designed to fit comfortably inside your bra.
Okay.
So you can pump on the go and nobody would even know.
That is amazing.
Isn't it cool?
Okay, so let's talk about the Willow Go first.
Okay.
Like, what sets that one apart?
So the Willow Go is known for being super simple to use.
Okay.
It collects your milk directly into these spill-proof bags.
Oh, wow.
So you don't have to worry about
So there's no bottles.
no bottles, no transferring, no...
That's amazing.
Yeah, it's great.
So you can literally pump, like,
Yeah.
on the go and not even worry about it.
It's really designed for that mom who is, like, always on the move.
That's amazing. Okay, now what about the LV? What sets that one apart?
Okay, so the LV is definitely more high-tech.
Okay.
It's known for having a really sleek design.
Okay.
It's also very quiet, which is nice.
Okay.
And they have this really cool app.
Ooh, what's so cool about the app?
So the app tracks your milk volume
Okay.
in real time.
Oh, wow.
So you can see exactly how much you're pumping.
That's so cool.
Yeah. You can control the pump settings from your phone.
Oh, my God.
You can even order new parts directly through the app.
Wow. It's like having a little personal assistant.
I know, right?
It's amazing.
For your boobs.
It really is.
Okay, so we've talked about all the different types of pumps.
Yes.
We've talked about some like general tips for pumping.
Right.
But I'm thinking now about all those other like accessories.
Okay. Yeah.
Those are important too, right? The accessories are huge. They seem like these like little details,
Right.
but they can make or break your pumping journey. Seriously.
Okay, so like, what are some of those like must-haves?
Okay, so first and foremost, we have to talk about flange fit.
Okay.
This is something that a lot of moms don't even realize is a thing.
Okay.
But using the correct flange size
Yeah.
can make a huge difference in your comfort level
Right.
and how much milk you're actually able to express.
And we touched on this briefly before,
yeah.
but why is it so important?
So if you have a flange that's too small, it can actually pinch
Ouch.
and like restrict the milk flow.
Okay.
But then if you have one that's too big, that can
Yeah.
be super uncomfortable.
Right.
And it can also make it harder for the pump to effectively remove the milk.
Gotcha. So it's like,
It's got to be just right.
find that Goldilocks, yeah.
Exactly. Exactly.
So how do you know
Yeah. How do you know?
if you have the right size?
That is the question. So a good way to check is to look at your nipple after you've pumped.
Okay.
It should look round. It should look smooth.
Okay.
You don't want it to be flattened or like misshapen in any way.
Gotcha.
And the good news is a lot of pumps actually come with multiple flange sizes.
Okay.
So don't be afraid to experiment
Okay.
until you find the one that feels most comfortable.
And it's always a good idea to reach out to a lactation consultant
Absolutely.
if you're
Yeah, they can
not sure.
help you. Yeah.
Okay.
Cool. What's next? Ooh. This is a game changer. Hands-free pumping bra.
Yes.
Have you tried one of these?
Oh my goodness. A good pumping bra is like
It's essential.
essential. Yes.
It makes such a difference because then your hands are free
right.
and you can multitask.
Yeah, you can like scroll on your phone or
Exactly. You can eat, you can work,
you can eat, you can like
you can read a book,
read a book. Yeah.
anything.
You're not like stuck
It's
there.
amazing.
Yeah.
Okay, what else? Milk storage bags.
Oh yeah.
This is essential for building your freezer stash.
Freezer stash is key. Yeah.
It's like your backup plan.
It really is.
It's great. It's like insurance for your milk supply.
Totally.
So when you're looking at milk storage bags,
Yeah.
you want to make sure that they are pre-sterilized,
Okay.
BPA-free,
Right.
and that they have really good seed.
I don't want any leaks
No leaks.
because that's like the worst.
The worst.
Yeah.
All that liquid gold wasted.
Wasted.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, let's see. Nursing pads.
Oh, yeah.
These are essential.
Because let's be real.
Yes, leaks happen.
Leaks happen.
Even if you have the best pump in the world, leaks happen.
Yes,
So it's always good to be prepared.
totally.
And there's so many different types of nursing pads out there.
Right, like disposable, reusable.
Yeah, exactly.
There are so many options.
Whatever your preference is, there's something out there for you.
So many options.
Okay, so those are kind of like your practical, essential,
All must-haves.
the must-haves.
The essentials.
Now let's talk about the fun stuff.
Yes, okay, like what?
Yeah.
Because we want to make this enjoyable, too.
Exactly.
So one of my favorite things is nipple balm.
Oh, yeah.
Have you tried this?
Oh, yeah.
It's a lifesaver.
It's amazing.
Pumping can really do a number on your nipples.
It can.
It makes them dry,
Okay.
makes them irritated.
Yeah.
And so a good nipple balm
Right.
can just provide that soothing relief.
Yeah, it's like those little acts of self-care.
Exactly. And we all need that.
What about, like, are there any other,
Yes.
like, products like that?
Yes. Okay, so have you ever tried using a warm compress before you pump?
I feel like I did,
Yeah.
like, back in the day.
It's amazing
Yeah.
because it helps stimulate blood flow,
Oh, okay.
which can encourage that letdown.
Gotcha. So it's almost like tricking your body.
Totally. And it
Yeah.
feels really good too,
That's important too, yeah.
especially when your boobs are feeling like
Engorged.
little engorged.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, warm compress.
Warm and compress. And then, have you heard of these, like, lactation massagers? I've seen them advertised,
Okay, yeah.
but I don't, like,
Yeah.
I don't tell me about them.
They're amazing. Okay, so it's basically like
Okay.
a mini massage therapist for your boobs.
I like it.
So they use gentle vibrations or heat therapy,
Okay.
and they can help relieve engorgement. They can prevent clogged ducts.
Oh,
They
nice.
can also promote milk flow.
So it's like pampering yourself
Yes.
while you're pumping.
It's like a little spa
Oh, I
treatment.
love it.
Right.
Okay, so we've talked about all these accessories that can, like,
Yeah.
make your life a little easier, make you a little more comfy.
Exactly.
But I think it's also important to acknowledge
Yeah.
that, like,
Yeah.
pumping is not always sunshine and rainbows.
It's not always glamorous, that's for sure.
So what are some, like, common challenges
Okay.
that people bump into?
Pumping challenges. Oh, there are so many.
Yeah.
One of the biggest ones that I hear from moms is just difficulty with letdown,
Oh, yeah.
especially when you're hooked up to a machine.
Right.
It's not always easy
Right.
to trigger that reflex.
Yeah, because your baby's not right there.
Exactly. Exactly.
So it's just like you and this machine.
Yeah, it can feel a little clinical sometimes.
Right, right.
Right.
Okay, so what do you do?
So there are a few things you can try.
Okay.
A lot of moms find that looking at pictures or videos of their baby
Okay.
helps,
Okay.
or listening to recordings of their baby's cries,
Oh.
or even just like visualizing their baby while they're pumping.
Oh, Okay, so you're trying to like
Yeah, you're tricking your brain.
trick your brain into thinking
The baby.
the baby's right there.
Exactly.
Gotcha.
Because your brain is really what's controlling all of this.
Totally. Okay.
No.
What about sore nipples? Because
Oh, yeah, that's a big one.
that's like
Common.
very common.
Yeah.
And we talked about flange fit,
Right.
but it's also really important to make sure that you're not pumping.
Okay.
Hit the suction too high. Right, because that'll just make it worse.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's all about finding that balance
Right.
between effective suction and comfort.
Totally.
Because
Okay.
you don't want to be in pain.
Right.
And pain is your body's way of saying something's not right.
Okay, so if you are feeling pain while you're pumping, what do you do?
So first and foremost, stop pumping and just kind of like assess the situation.
Okay.
Check your flange fit.
Yeah.
Make sure that the suction level isn't too high, and just take a break if you need to.
Okay.
Give your body a rest.
And don't hesitate to reach out to a lactation consultant
Absolutely, yes.
if it's not getting better.
Yes, they can help you troubleshoot.
Okay. Okay, cool. What about,
Yeah.
like, I feel like just sticking to, like, a schedule is hard.
Oh my gosh, the schedule.
Because
Life happens.
happens.
Yes. So how?
So it definitely takes some planning,
Okay.
and it takes,
Right.
dedication.
Especially if you're working. Especially if you're working, oh my gosh, it's like a whole other ball game.
Yeah, because you got to, like,
Yeah.
find a place.
You got to find a place. You got to make time.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
It's a lot.
Yeah. Okay. So for people who are working,
Yeah.
what are some tips?
Okay, so I think my biggest tip for working moms is invest in a really good pumping bag.
Okay.
Because if you're already using a diaper bag,
Right. Which is already like a black hole.
and it's the black hole, you don't need your pump parts
Right. Exactly.
floating around in there too.
Exactly. Okay.
So you to get a dedicated bag for all of your pumping gear.
I love it. Okay.
That's huge.
What about like emotionally?
Yeah.
Because I feel like it can be really,
Oh my gosh, so emotional.
yeah.
So I would say first and foremost,
Yeah.
give yourself grace.
Okay.
This is not easy. It is a lot, and it's okay to not be okay sometimes.
That is so true.
Right, like you're allowed to have those feelings.
Right. Because there's so much pressure.
So much pressure. There's just so much pressure to like do it the right way.
Yeah. And it's like, whose definition of right?
Right, exactly. It's like,
Because there's no manual.
exactly.
There's no right answer.
And even if there was, like, every baby's different.
Exactly. Every baby's different. Every mom's different.
Yeah.
Everybody's different. And like what works one day might not work the next.
Totally.
So yeah, I think giving yourself grace is like the number one thing.
Okay, Grace, I love that.
Yeah.
What about, because I do feel like, especially like in those early days,
Yeah.
it can feel very isolating.
Oh, 100%.
Because it's like,
Yeah.
you're just like hooked up to this machine.
Yes.
And it can feel
You
very
can feel very lonely.
lonely.
Yes. Especially if you're like,
Yeah.
up in the middle of the night and it's dark
Yeah.
and your partner's asleep and like you're just like, ugh.
So what do you do? Like, how do you deal with those feelings of isolation?
Yeah. So I think it's really important to reach out for support,
Yeah.
talk to your partner,
Okay.
talk to your friends, your family. And like, if you know other moms who are breastfeeding,
Yeah.
reach out to them because I guarantee
Yeah.
they've been there.
They've been there.
They've felt those same feelings.
And they get it.
They get it. And sometimes just like
Okay.
knowing that you're not alone can make a world of difference.
Totally.
And I think a lot of moms
Yeah.
feel like they have to put on this brave face
Right.
and pretend like everything's okay. It's like, no, it's hard.
Yeah. It's really hard.
It's okay to say that.
Yeah. It's okay to not be okay.
Yeah. It's okay to not be okay.
But it's not okay to like suffer in silence.
Exactly. Exactly.
that's
Talk
true.
to someone. Like I guarantee you there are people in your life who want to support you.
Totally.
They love you. They want to help.
And they probably don't even know how.
Exactly. So tell them.
Yeah.
Tell them what you need.
Yeah. Tell them, I love that. Okay.
Okay.
So we've talked about all these different aspects of pumping.
Yeah, it's a lot, right?
It's a lot.
We covered a lot of ground today.
We really have. But before we wrap things up,
Okay.
I want to leave our listeners
Oh,
with
yeah.
one final thought.
Okay, I love it.
Pumping is so much more
Yes.
than milk.
It's about love.
It really is.
It's about that special bond you have with your baby.
Totally.
And it's about doing what's best for both of you,
100%.
however that looks.
Totally.
And I think it's also important to remember
Yeah.
that this is a season.
Okay.
Like, it's not going to last forever,
That is true.
even though it might feel like it some days.
All right. Right.
But there will come a day when you pack up your pump for the last time.
Yes.
And, It's okay to feel a little bittersweet about it.
Totally. Well, I think that's a perfect note to end on.
I think so too.
So to all the pumping moms out there, we see you, we support you.
We're cheering you on.
And until next time, happy pumping.